Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of Monday Night Raw for RVD's favorite day, 4/20/20. Shout out to everybody in the chat room for watching live. I appreciate your viewership and your support. Let's go ahead and get started with the Raw recap, heading into the upcoming Money in the Bank pay-per-view. By the way, if you're curious, I just posted a few shots from WWE headquarters. There are new photos of the Money in the Bank ladder match setup on the roof. Check out the photos over on NoDQ.com in the features section. Now, let's get to Raw. We kicked off the show with a recap from last week. The WWE Champion Drew McIntyre came out and he took a page out of Carol Baskin's playbook saying, "Hello out there to all you cool cats and kittens. If Joe Exotic had Monday Night Raw in his jail cell, he probably would be throwing his monitor and breaking stuff." Drew talked about the attack from last week by Seth Rollins. He said he gets it. Everybody wants to be WWE champion. Everybody wants to be on top. However, does Seth Rollins deserve an opportunity? Drew said that Seth does. Seth is one of the best, and in order to be the best, you have to beat the best. Drew McIntyre officially challenged Seth Rollins to a match at Money in the Bank for the WWE title. Then all of a sudden, we had Zelina Vega and her crew come out. Camp Zelina, I guess, is the name of the group. I thought I heard it mentioned once during Raw, so I guess that's what we're going with. Camp Zelina. Zelina said that they are sick and tired of Drew McIntyre's Raw speeches. Zelina said that Drew should not look past Angel Garza, which is the main event for Monday Night Raw this week. Andrade then snuck in from behind. He was not there on the stage. Andrade attacked Drew McIntyre from behind. However, Drew fought him off and he hit the Claymore, knocking Andrade out of the ring. Zelina Vega was ordering Angel Garza and Austin Theory to get into the ring, but they declined. They took a hike. They wanted nothing to do with the WWE Champion Drew McIntyre. And that set up our main event, Drew McIntyre versus Angel Garza. We had Alistair Black one-on-one with Austin Theory from Camp Vega, or Camp Zelina. Zelina was on commentary. Like last week, this was another Zelina Vega heavy edition of Monday Night Raw. And she made a point on commentary that her guys are not overconfident. She ended up leaving the commentary desk and started trash-talking Alistair Black, who in real life is her husband. Austin Theory attacked him from behind, Alistair Black, and then eventually Alistair made his comeback. He hit a knee to the face, followed by a German suplex, pinfall. Austin kicked out of that. So Austin looked okay in this match against Alistair Black, who has been quite dominant so far in his WWE run. Black then hit a cool-looking black mask. The black mask always looks awesome, but this week in particular, it looked pretty badass to pick up the victory. It's the sound effect that really, I think, puts it over the top. After the match, Byron Saxton interviewed Alistair Black. Alistair said he doesn't know much about corporate life. He has all the tattoos. He's not corporate friendly. But he will say this, that each floor of that WWE building will turn into a personal hell for all of his opponents. Simple, short and sweet. This was fine. We had footage of Shayna Baszler taking out Sarah Logan's arm from last week's Raw. And this led to a match between Shayna Baszler and Indy Hartwell, who was this week's enhancement talent to get destroyed by Shayna. Baszler got kicked in the face and she basically just laughed it off. She gave Hartwell a knee strike to the face and then did the same thing she did to Sarah Logan on last week's show, smashed her arm. What was funny here was that the referee did not really check on Hartwell. As soon as Baszler did this, the referee pretty much just immediately called for the bell and said the match was being stopped. Shayna was awarded the victory. So I guess the referee just presumed once that move is done to the arm, the match is done. The competitor cannot continue. I thought maybe they should have had the referee at least check on Hartwell, but I guess the referee knows best, right? Shayna walked off and then she returned with a ladder. She swung Hartwell into the barricade and then put Hartwell's arm in the ladder and then kicked the ladder. And the referees were checking up on her and all that stuff. Shayna Baszler continuing to build momentum heading into the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. We had Ricochet and Cedric Alexander versus Brendan, Fink, and Shane Thorn, the tag team enhancement guys. Will they ever win a match? That remains to be seen. Recoil and lumbar check. Ricochet and Cedric pick up the victory. We had a Kairi Sane and Asuka promo backstage and usual stuff from them, the dancing around. We had Nia Jax versus Kairi Sane in a rematch. Oh, and by the way, it's Brendan Vink, not Fink. I got Howard Finkel on the brain, apparently. So we had this rematch, Nia Jax versus Kairi Sane. Why do we need a rematch? To quote Lex Luger, I don't know. But we had it. Kairi got a little bit of offense. She went after the surgically repaired knees of Nia Jax, which is a smart strategy. Did not work, though. Samoan drop. Nia Jax picked up the 1-2-3 victory. Maybe they could do a third match next week because why not? We had Bobby Lashley in the PC gym, and he was with Lana. Apparently, they're cool. There was no tease of dissension between them. Lashley said he was going to flip over a tire. He was going to show his strength. And later on in the show, he did flip over that tire, and then there was a bigger tire. And then later on in the show again, he struggled to flip over the bigger tire, but finally did it. And that was it for Lashley on the show. I wasn't really a fan of this. It felt like there was no point in it. Like it did not advance the Lana Lashley storyline. And we get it. Lashley's a strong guy. Flipping over a tire. Nah. Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, are Kairi Sane and Asuka tweeners or heels? I believe they're heels, but Asuka's so entertaining it's hard to tell sometimes. We had a Seth Rollins promo from his home, I guess. He said he admires Drew McIntyre for being a fighting champion. They have a lot in common. They both had their big victories at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins said he accepts the challenge for Money in the Bank. However, there is one difference between them, and that difference is he is a leader. And that's what the WWE Universe needs more than ever. He is a proven leader. Drew McIntyre is not, and he will sacrifice for the greater good at Money in the Bank. And I have no idea if Kairi Sane is leaving or not. I could see her leaving when her contract is up. I don't really think WWE has any long-term plans for her. Uthman Rules with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. He says, is it just a coincidence that Tamina is getting a push after the Dark Side episode about her dad? WWE making people look the other way? I honestly don't think the Dark Side of the Ring deal has anything to do with it. I just think Tamina is somebody that is stepping up under the circumstances, and she's getting a push because of it. I think she's in the right place at the right time. And I think, as I mentioned on the SmackDown review, that she is probably benefiting from no crowds. She can go out there, she can do her promos, people are not doing the what chants at her, and this might be her best opportunity to make a name for herself in WWE. We had a very bizarre segment with the Viking Raiders. They were doing carpool karaoke. They were driving in the car, singing about how they are Vikings and they love to fight. They were singing. Ivar was eating a turkey leg. And I do not understand this segment at all. It felt like the B Team. Very goofy, comedic. Not what you would expect from these guys. Like, these guys are vicious brutes. Why are they doing comedy? I don't get it. Not a fan. Not a fan of this segment at all. We had MVP come out for his Money in the Bank qualifying match, and I thought this was a pretty good promo from him. He said he has seen a lot of guys rise, a lot of guys fall, trying to get the briefcase. He said it's his turn to punch his ticket. He said, yeah, Apollo Crews is perhaps the most gifted guy in WWE. However, Apollo Crews is outmatched. And MVP is a guy who is no stranger to suits, no stranger to private jets. He knows what it's all about when it comes to signing the big deals. Crews had enough of this. His music hit. He interrupted. We had this match between them. MVP was trash talking, telling Apollo to give up. Talked about how he has beaten guys like Batista and Kane. However, Apollo kept staying in the match. Apollo kicked out of the playmaker. And then Apollo made his comeback, hit a standing moonsault, standing shooting star press, followed by his sit-down powerbomb to score the 1-2-3 victory over MVP and advance into Money in the Bank. This was fine. Good stuff here from these guys. We had a Ruby Riott interview backstage, talked about her match with Liv Morgan. She said she carried the Riott squad. She carried Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. She made them look good. She talked about how now Sarah Logan has a broken arm and, well, she's also released, but Ruby never said that. And Liv will be lucky if she doesn't have both of her arms broken when it's all said and done. We had the match between them. Pretty short match, not much to say about it. Liv picked up the victory with the flatliner, and yeah, not much going on for Ruby Riott these days, that's for sure. We had Rey Mysterio versus, don't call him Buddy Murphy, in the Money in the Bank qualifying match. Rey got a 619 early on, well, attempted to, close call. Rey then hurt his finger during the match, and Murphy took advantage of this, as any heel would do. He stomped on Rey's hand. He kept working on the finger, using the ring post to work over Rey's finger. Eventually, Rey made his comeback. He hit the Destroyer, followed by the 619, and then he hit the big splash off the top to score the victory over a very game Murphy. I'm a little disappointed that Murphy did not win this. I feel like Murphy is tailor-made at least to get into Money in the Bank. So people can say, hey, maybe Murphy's going to be the next big star. Maybe he will win Money in the Bank. Instead, it goes to the veteran. Like, to me, that's just not as intriguing. I want to see the young up-and-coming guys in Money in the Bank to see if maybe one of them will win the briefcase and go to the next level. Rey Mysterio wins. It's just Rey Mysterio. It's the veteran. Like, who cares? I don't know. I think this was the wrong booking decision. And plus, I feel like Rey is playing with fire at this stage of his career, doing ladder matches. I mean, obviously it's a different type of match than usual, but still, I don't know if Rey needs to be in these matches at his age with all the injuries. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, is Murphy with Seth Rollins? That I do not know. I mean, I'm not sure if WWE addressed it or not. Maybe they did on this show. I wasn't really paying attention if they did. So yeah, I really don't know. I mean, my presumption is that that faction is done, but maybe Murphy will be in Rollins' corner at Money in the Bank. I guess we'll have to just wait and see on that one. I mean, anything could happen with that. WWE could decide at Money in the Bank, Murphy is a way for Rollins to win by DQ or something. I mean, who knows? We had Zelina Vega and Angel Garza interviewed backstage. Zelina said it would be a real shame if Drew McIntyre did not make it to Money in the Bank. Yeah, like that's going to happen. And then Angel flirted a little bit with Charlie Caruso, and she seemed to like it. She was very charmed by Angel Garza. We had Charlotte Flair one-on-one with Caden Carter. Caden Carter, one of the other resident enhancement talents from NXT. Charlotte hit her with a big boot right off the bat. Carter did get a little bit of offense, but not much. Charlotte picked up the victory with a spear, followed by the figure four, turned it into the figure eight, and I guess she will be watching NXT on Wednesday. She might be there, I believe, to see what happens with Mia Yim, who is now the number one contender. Becky Lynch was not on this show, by the way. Seth Rollins nor Becky Lynch were on, so I guess WWE gave them a week off, or maybe they decided they're taking time off. Perhaps we'll find more information about that in the coming days. We had Andrade versus Akira Tozawa in a one-on-one match. Tozawa did his senton on the outside, which thankfully this week Jerry Lawler did not refer to as the ramen noodle moonsault. Andrade picked up the victory after Tozawa did get some near falls. Andrade draped Tozawa on the top rope and hit the hammerlock DDT to score the victory. And then we had, Io Shirai won the match. Never mind, I screwed that up. My apologies. Street Profits came out and danced with Byron Saxton. Saxton should never dance again. It is the cringiest dancing. I mean, I could not do any better, not gonna lie, but every time he dances, like, I feel that anybody who's near him loses coolness. Like, he is the complete opposite of swag. So it's like the reverse Midas touch with Byron Saxton. We had Bianca Belair versus Santana Garrett from NXT. Street Profits were on commentary. I was annoyed. I felt like I had to mute my TV, and these guys are baby faces. They're not heels, so I should not be annoyed by them, but they're just over the top of the, bam! That was pretty much all their commentary. It sucked. It was annoying. Bianca picked up the victory. I mean, the match was all right, but I was just so distracted by the Street Profits the entire time. Bam! It was terrible. Never put these guys on commentary again. Give me Asuka, but not these guys. It's like Asuka's a heel and she's entertaining. Street Profits are baby faces and they're annoying. We had the main event, Angel Garza, who I believe has new music. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think he has new entrance music. Just a variation of what he already had, but it did sound different. He was up against the WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre, and Camp Vega was out there at ringside, distracting Drew, of course. Drew, though, fought back. He ripped off the pants of Garza and then finished off Garza after doing a dive over the top onto all three guys. He hit the Claymore, beat Angel Garza like we were all expecting. After the match, he gave him a second Claymore and then gave another one to Austin Theory. So everybody in Camp Vega on this Raw got hit with the Claymore. So yeah, this faction not really doing all that much. I mean, they're basically just punching bags for Drew McIntyre until Money in the Bank. Seth Rollins is the real star. Let's be real here. So overall, Raw was all right. Kind of a boring show in my opinion. I feel like this was one of those shows where if you missed it, you really didn't miss much. Like they did a few things, the Money in the Bank qualifiers, and Drew's looking good, but yeah, it just wasn't really a very eventful Raw in my opinion. Darius wants me to start rating the shows again. I mean, for the empty arena shows, this was one of the weaker ones. Like, I would say this was a below average empty arena Raw. So that puts it pretty low. Like, this would be below your below average Raws with a crowd. So yeah, wasn't really all that high on this one. So that was Raw. I mean, SmackDown just flows better as a 2-hour show in general. And I like the storylines on SmackDown better. I like the Otis and Mandy Rose storyline. And I like Miz and Morrison, their stuff. And you got New Day on there. And it feels like SmackDown has star power. Especially this week with no Rollins and no Becky. Like, this show just felt really flat. And no Kevin Owens. No Randy Orton. Like, Orton's not even on the show. He's a regular. I guess a somewhat regular. But, yeah, Raw just is really lacking in star power right now. And I get it. You want to build new stars. But in this empty arena era, I think WWE needs every star they can get on this show. Especially now with the empty arena era. No AJ Styles, but that's understandable because, well, he's dead in storyline. He got buried. Mark Kennedy with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Mark. He says, Owens beats Rollins and Rollins gets the title shot and Owens is left off TV. Please explain. Kevin Owens lives in Canada and there's a travel ban. Kind of hard to get Owens to Orlando, Florida right now. They were able to do it for WrestleMania, and one would say, well, why not have Rollins beat Owens at WrestleMania? And I talked about this before. I think it was a case of WWE wanting to do as many happy finishes as possible, happy endings, and I'm sure people will joke about that. But, you know, Vince wanted to book as many positive outcomes as possible for WrestleMania, even though it really did not make sense with Seth Rollins being Drew's challenger. Like I said before, I think if WrestleMania went on in Tampa, Rollins would have picked up the victory over Owens. And they tried to explain it with Drew saying that Rollins is one of the most decorated stars in WWE. So, I mean, they really made the effort with it. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, is Sarah Logan coming back after getting fired? That is the rumor. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I think it sucks that she got released, but I feel that way about pretty much all the guys in WWE that want to be there. For the guys that wanted to be released, I mean, yeah, WWE should have released them when they asked to be released. We could see Sarah Logan come back. We could see a couple of people come back. I mean, it would not shock me if WWE brought back some people once things started getting back to normal and WWE started doing arena shows again. You could look at it as some of these guys, yeah, they were released, but you know, you could also look at it as maybe they're being furloughed as well. I mean, I think officially the term is released, but anything's possible. I could see a couple of people at least being brought back once WWE starts going on the road again with fans in attendance at shows. Ken terminated by Google with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Ken. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for your super chats tonight, by the way. Do you know if Edge is a part-timer like Triple H and Undertaker? I miss Edge's promos and Hall of Fame presence, don't you, man? Yeah, Edge is definitely doing the part-time work right now. I think it's 3 or 4 matches a year, and now that there are no crowds, there's no reason for Edge to be around. He was committed for WrestleMania. That was already set up. But why waste an Edge appearance when there's no crowd? I don't think we're going to see Edge again until there are crowds. Will that be 6 months, a year? Again, we don't know. But yeah, he is a part-timer. And Roman Candles with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Roman. He says, I have 2 questions. When AJ Styles returns, do you think he will have short hair and the Money in the Bank pay-per-view? They should have new faces in the match. Well, I agree. I guess that second part is more of a comment than a question. I think they should have new faces in the match. Like I said, I'm a little surprised Murphy did not beat Ray. Ray does not need the win at this stage of the game. As far as AJ goes, I think it's a good idea to change up the look a little bit. He's had the long soccer mom hair for a while. Why not cut it or trim it or do something different? I'm always a fan of wrestlers reinventing their looks and changing things up. You know, Jericho does it. Why not AJ? But I would not be surprised if he just shows up looking exactly the same as before. We'll see. We're not hurt, though, to have a little bit of a makeover as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. But wait a minute. Time out. Cannot pronounce this name, so I'm not going to attempt to. I'm sorry for that. Aasim, and I just tried it. My apologies. Tough to pronounce some of the names sometimes. Says, when arena shows are back, will Raw be all hands on deck? Oh, yeah, for sure. And maybe that's the attitude right now. Maybe WWE's attitude is not to have the big stars on the shows and just try to move things along best to their abilities without bringing in the big names. And once we get to that point where there are arena shows again, you bring in the big guns, you get all the eyeballs tuning in. Maybe that is the attitude. Maybe WWE doesn't want to waste Randy Orton on an empty arena show right now. Same thing with Edge. Same thing with some of the other guys that they could theoretically bring in right now. So yeah, I think that they will go all out. Not to steal a term from AEW, but I think the WWE will try to make those first arena shows as big as possible. Like they're going to throw big matches, title matches, pay-per-view quality matches, bringing back names from the past, all that stuff. I think WWE will, in fact, go balls to the walls for that. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. So a couple more here before I wrap this up. Says, Apollo, Cedric, and Ricochet need gimmicks to get over. I've always said that Apollo needs something, whether it's a heel turn or some kind of persona, because he really doesn't have one. Ricochet is fine. I mean, Ricochet to me is like Rey Mysterio in a way. I just think they ruined him with the booking. Ricochet's going to be in a spot where nobody's going to take him seriously now because of that Brock Lesnar squash at the Saudi Arabia show. And Cedric, yeah, I mean, Cedric's been lower tier so long, and then WWE kind of gave him a push, but he really doesn't have the charisma to be at that level. I mean, he's a good wrestler. There's a lot of good wrestlers in WWE, a lot of great athletes, but yeah, a lot of them just lack the personality, and I don't know if giving them a character overhaul would work. But the problem is Cedric and Ricochet and even Apollo, they all thrive on doing the high-flying, fan-friendly moves, you know? Ricky Steamboat was a great babyface, but it was because he did all the flashy stuff. Like, if you took that away from him, he wouldn't be Ricky Steamboat. So for those guys, I don't know what the answer is for them. Character overhauls, maybe, but if you do that and try to turn them heel, then they would have to cut back on the flashy moves, right? Because that's what babyfaces do. So kind of a tough spot for those guys, but Apollo just needs something. He's missing something. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting. Subscribe if you haven't already. Tell a friend. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. Like I said at the beginning, there are photos of the setup on the roof for Money in the Bank. Check it out. And I will see you guys Wednesday night for the next live stream. See you then. Take care, everybody. Be safe.